It's Throwback Thursday at the Canadian Tire Centre, part of a theme night thing that's going to be going on this season. It's not ABBA, but we are going to be talking about some Swedish goaltenders, and this is our very first segment ever of Marc's Me Thoughts. So let's get his thoughts. Let's start with Anton Forsberg and Linus Ullmark. There was a lot of debate about who might be starting in net tonight. Was Anton Forsberg the right decision, Marc?
So I'm flip-flopping on this, but I'm going to stick with my gut. I still think they should have gone with Linus Ullmark. Now, I know they're playing against the Islanders. They're offensively challenged, as we know, and they've got Boston coming up on the weekend and then Toronto on Tuesday. But I think you got to get them going. This is your guy now. Forsberg is the team's short-term solution. Getting a few wins at the expense of Ullmark's confidence, to me at least, is risky. Now, I know you can argue both sides, but the goal right now is the playoffs. If you don't get Ullmark going, there are no playoffs. That's their focus. So does he need to be better? There's no question. And you know he knows that. So it's, again, I've been around goaltenders lots. It's mental with these guys. You have to get them rolling. I thought tonight would have been a perfect opportunity for that. I realize they're playing in Boston, as I mentioned. But for me, despite the record, despite what we're seeing on the ice right now, the focus for me is long-term. It's making the postseason. I think Ullmark's the answer. He needs reps.
Well, right now, Anton Forsberg's the dancing queen, and Linus Ullmark might be saying, take a chance on me. Moving on to more of your thoughts, me thoughts, if you will. Artem Zub comes back into the lineup, so somebody had to leave. Well, it's JBD that draws out, and Travis Hamonic moves down to play with Tyler Plevitt. Do you think that was the right move? Who do you think should have been the D-man leaving?
I have nothing but respect for the coaching staff. They've got a tremendous staff down there. But I could not disagree with that decision more. And I say this because if you look analytically speaking right now, it doesn't make sense, right? JBD is a young player. He's part of your future. To me, that's the biggest thing. And he's been playing good hockey. He's physical. He's been reliable. Him and Tyler Plevitt have had fantastic chemistry together. And from an analytical perspective, believe it or not, I'm bringing that up, Travis Hamonic doesn't really match up well with any of the players on the back end. So I've been through this situation when I was in Columbus. I was finally breaking my way into the lineup. And Scott Housen, the general manager at the time, went out and acquired Dick Tarnstrom, of all people, with almost no NHL experience, and it pushed me away, and it just destroyed my confidence. I'm not suggesting that JBD is exactly in that situation, but I am concerned.
Okay, this might sound like a red flag, but we're going to be talking about the Leafs. The Ottawa Senators do play them in 2 games, but Auston Matthews has been out with an injury. But the Leafs are 36-19-12 with Auston Matthews out of the lineup. So what do you make of that, Marc?
Do you trade him? Look, I know, and anything I say will get cut up and I'll get used against me. But for me, that stat is wild. And I think a lot of it, imagine being Matthews and watching your team put up 3 power play goals the other night. I mean, the way they did against the Boston Bruins. And no, Claire, a part of me is not surprised. I mean, when a star player goes down, it's inevitable. A lot of the other guys, their games get elevated. Willie Nylander's a good example. 6 goals, 6 assists in his last 10 games without Matthews in the lineup. But joking aside, this might be a wake-up call here. I mean, maybe you have to manage minutes better if he does come back in. And because I know I mentioned exploring a trade, but again, scoring titles are awesome. It doesn't equate to championships. And it doesn't mean you're going to get out of that first round of the playoffs either. So for me, maybe you explore some options here. I don't suggest necessarily trading them, but it's certainly something to discuss.
Okay, bold statements. Well, the Ottawa Senators will play the Leafs for the first time this season when they travel to Toronto on Tuesday. Those are his thoughts, not my thoughts. Thank you for our first edition of Marc Me Thoughts.